we will never not enjoy and embrace winning in this league. But I do think that guys are very aware of the fact that it can be better and that it will have to be better the more that we go along here and play. So I think that's a good sign that they know that there's some plays that we left out there that we could have played better. But to do that on the road and be able to end it with the ball offensively and in victory formation is fun.
Come on, Coach. Smile a little. You won the damn game.
Sell it, Mike.
It's 3 in a row, for God's sakes. Welcome into Boston has entered the chat here inside our Salem 5 studios on a victory Monday, October 13th here. Travis Thomas, the Kasey Hudson, Adam Kaufman. I mean, Mike Vrabel. Come on, bro. You won the game. Be happy with it. We're happy. We're ecstatic. This team is real, and they're spectacular.
That is Vrab's happy face. I'll take it. I'll take it all day long.
That's him happy.
You want to know why? Because I don't want to see the opposite right now, and luckily we haven't had 2 in 3 straight games.
Good point.
So, Vrabs, don't smile away. I'm
Good
okay.
Point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Look, I think the way he looks is representative of probably the way he feels, which is, we got away with one to some degree. Like, we led this game after the first quarter. We led it at the half. We exchanged field goals in the second half. There were moments toward the end where the Saints, not that the game was ever in doubt for me, but there were moments there where it was like, all right, could New Orleans attempt to put together a charge? Because Spencer Rattler, to his credit, not nearly as bad as a lot of us have said over the last couple of years that he is. He looks like 1 of 32, right? I mean, he's maybe a bottom 5, bottom 7 quarterback, but he's a guy that is a capable starter. And so, the Patriots, we said it time and time again, you could not go in there and take this team for granted.
That's right.
It's all this trap game nonsense. We said it at the end of last week. The Patriots are not a good enough team, Kasey, to go in and just sort of be feeling themselves after winning in Buffalo.
Be too nonchalant about it.
I mean, they don't have the talent to do so, which they didn't do. They went in, they took care of business. I appreciate them doing that, obviously. But I think Vrabel is, without saying it, he's highlighting, all right, 11 penalties, that can't happen.
Yeah.
We got a clean thing. I know it wasn't all.
It was a whole penalty party out there. Like, all we're missing is a few high kicks and dance moves.
130 yards wiped off the board, whatever it was, by sort of phantom or at least questionable offensive pass interference calls. But granted, there were 11 penalties, 65 yards they were charged for there, which were, problematic. Obviously, and we'll get into this, couldn't run the football at all. But, if we're starting game balls and we want to give our guy Mike Vrabel credit, I know we talk about Drake Maye. I want to start with Vrabel, the guy that we just heard from here, because he had multiple successful challenges in the fourth quarter at key pivotal moments. In the second quarter, late in the half, there was the good decision to go for what ultimately wound up to be a successful 2-point conversion. You had the, successful 4th down pickup as well. It's just, he pressed a lot of the right buttons.
Yes.
And I think as much credit as we want to give to Kayshon Boutte, to Drake Maye, to some of these different guys, I'm going to give it to Vrabel too.
Actually, I love that, because to Vrabel's credit, I think that the ugly win part is more so the fact that he had so much confidence in this team. He wanted to see more pull away, especially after a performance like they had versus the Bills. So when that expectation and that confidence comes in that high, and that trust factor for this team that's been underestimated heading into this season, big mark there to say that he deserves a game ball and a lot of flowers, especially for his patience. My God, his patience.
Start sharing that ball, man.
Hey, we're giving out game balls, but we're also going to talk Bruins, who have an afternoon tilt at TD Garden today against the Lightning. So a big test coming up for the Bruins, who are undefeated so far on this early season. But you're going game ball here for Vrabel. I'm with you. Look, he kept his cool too. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how he did that, because I wanted to lose it, and I was losing it. You wanted to run
on the field?
But Vrabes, to your credit, the challenges, even just managing the clock, and to your credit too. Look, that Saints team is scrappy. They were in this game. Nobody panicked. He kept everyone calm. Vrabel definitely deserves a game ball. Who else you going?
Well, like he said too, they got the ball with 4 minutes left and didn't give it back.
Yes.
In the game in victory formation. You're able to, that's exactly how you want to win these games. Just good, again, good strategic, just control of the game late. But if we go to the next guy, Drake Maye, obviously. I mean, 260-plus passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, a passer rating of 140. Guys putting together just successful games in a row.
Looks like a top quarterback in the league.
Look, statistically, he is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now at 23 years of age, Kasey, and doing it with not a whole lot around him. So, I mean, we got to give him credit for, again, it's the mobility, it's adjustments on the fly. It's, you know, just some of the athletic decisions that he's making that
being
are
more decisive.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is coming together here for Drake Maye, and we're seeing it before our eyes. It's been a lot of fun.
I'm a big fan of it. I mean, just to continue to touch on the fact of the decisiveness, and then it's been talked about, like, how was he going to adjust to the fear factor in front of him, which was that offensive line. But, oh, by the way, Will Campbell, you're just doing all the things that need to be done, and the pass protection ends up being the savior for this team.
Sure is.
But he's not relying on that, and that's what I love about the maturity and what we've seen out of Drake Maye. He's not relying on the fact that this offensive line has been a sweet surprise in that factor, the decisiveness, his ability to have his sixth sense come into play. I mean, Chase Young was all up in his face a number of times. And did we see mistakes out of Drake Maye? No, we did not. And that would have been a different conversation a year ago.
No doubt. Here's Drake Maye after his big game. Remember, call us too, 617-790-0928. Get in here, talk Pats with us. Let's hear from Drake.
Drake, you said in the offseason when you showed up, tired of losing football games. You won 3 in a row now, 2 on the road. What's it feel like now that you leave the team? Feels like you've become one of the leaders here in Pigs. You see him working the sideline. Kayshon showing up big on some of the catches there, just spreading the ball around.
Yeah, we got more work to do. You know, I think that's the big thing, but it feels good getting, you know, in the win column consistently. You know, that's 3 in a row. We got to keep going and building on it. We're on the road again, but no, it feels good to win, and it feels good to, you know, win on the road. It's always nice to win on the road, and you know, like I said, just trying to step up leadership wise, and the defense played, you know, covered our butts in the second half. They played their butts off.
Okay, so Drake did his thing, leading rusher, by the way, and we'll get into that later. Adam's right. We'll talk about that later because that's a little concerning. But he did everything. I mean, he might as well work concessions, too.
The only thing that makes him come off 23 is how fast he still talks to the media.
He talks so fast. I'm like, Drake.
But it's just a nervous rattle until he settles in.
Got that baby face, too.
Oh, yes, that as well.
Not a piece of hair on that face
Probably can't
all.
come in yet.
No peach fuzz to be found. So we talked offense. I know you want to talk defense for game balls. Give it to me. Come on.
Yeah, I got to go with Chasesaw because, for one, Vrabel talked about how the defense came into the rescue a number of times, and defense has been getting a little too banged up for my liking this early in the season, one would quote of it. But, I mean, team high when it comes to QB pressure, sitting at 5 and 30, just racking up in numbers when it comes to bringing the rush, bringing the pass, or bringing the pressure consistently. So for him to be able to do that and for there to be zero deflation out of this defense with some of the bang-ups that have taken place and the timeliness in which they came in and threw the cape on, that's where my game balls got to go.
Adam, could you do me a favor and tell me a little?
Sorry, a little too much zip there. I got excited.
I'm lucky to be alive.
I almost took his fingers. We've been standing. His knees are going to go shortly. I'm so sorry. That was a
hospital ball right there. All right, Adam.
Throwing ducks.
I thought I'd never say this, but tell me about Boutte.
Oh, there was just booty everywhere, guys. Listen, Kayshon Boutte, 2 touchdowns, about 100 yards almost. Went for 100 back in week 1, we remember. So there's been maybe a little bit of inconsistency in his game. But even still, when Drake Maye wanted to lean on him, he was there.
Yes.
He had multiple receptions of north of 20 yards. You know, Drake Maye, this is another thing for Drake Maye, but Boutte plays into it. Maye has now converted on 8 straight passes of 20-plus yards in the air. So, you know, I don't necessarily look at Kayshon Boutte as this deep threat, but he's playing like it. He's growing into that role at least a little bit, you know, and so the way that, you know, Maye can spread it around between Diggs, Douglas should have had a career game yesterday if he didn't have a second touchdown wiped off the board. But Boutte goes for that big game, as we talked about, and to do it back in his home, Louisiana, to do it, you know, LSU product too, in front of 40 family and friends. He talked about how he bought tickets for everybody to be able to show out at home. And, you know, it's just, we're seeing now for the Patriots, there's this string of games, guys, because, you know, I got my mansion on Narrative Street.
Absolutely.
I love the narratives. For Stephon Diggs to go back into his old house in Buffalo and take names against his old team. And now, and this wasn't like a revenge narrative thing, but the homecoming.
Oh, I like this.
Of Boutte going and getting the job done. And now next up, Mike Vrabel goes back to Tennessee.
I like this.
Are you kidding me?
Revenge tour style.
Yeah.
Hey, we need more Boutte on Boston has entered the chat. Take a listen.
I would say 3-4 years ago, I wasn't in the best position. I think a lot of off the field stuff. I kind of look at myself like I've been through a lot, and I feel like I'm finally getting back together and everything coming good. So I feel like it's good to beat the adversity and just keep working.
617-790-0928. Call us. I want to go back to this revenge tour thing. I don't like this.
Yeah.
There's no way this team goes to Tennessee next week and not come out of there with a win. You got to win this one for Braves, right?
The Titans blow.
They are bad. They're bad.
I don't know what I thought you were going to say there, but then it was like, yes, absolutely, Adam, they do blow. So, thank you.
Listen, the only win that this Tennessee, this poorly coached, lack of talent. I mean, they got
I like Cam Ward.
They got the quarterback, but after that, what do you have around
Nothing.
him? So
I haven't cared for them since Luan went out.
Yeah, this team, it's got the one win, and the one win was a miracle last week against the Cardinals.
Oh, that's right.
Last week, not yesterday, but last week, against having to come back from down 16 points in the fourth quarter. So that's not going to happen again. You got a much more there aren't a lot of teams in the NFL that we can sit here and say Patriots are more talented than.
Sure.
The Patriots are a more talented team than the Titans. They're certainly better coached, and they're more disciplined. The 11 penalties notwithstanding, they are a more disciplined team than Tennessee. So, I do not see how you lose in
if we're
Mike
talking
Vrabel's
stories and storylines, how about the don't you miss my culture? Don't you miss what I established? Don't you miss what you took for granted? Because that very much fits the bill for Vrabel taking his team in Tennessee, because they made it seem like he didn't lay a foundation there that needed to be built upon. And for him to be able to come in here and maybe make some waves for Coach of the Year, this is a narrative that I can get behind, and hopefully they get a very non-ugly win this time.
I'll say this, though. I mean, if I'm a Titans fan, I'm so depressed right now because even though the team's losing, Derrick Henry's having success in Baltimore, obviously, and now you're seeing Vrabel.
More so last year, but
But I'm just saying, as a Titans fan, right? You're like, damn, look at him. You knew he still had game, and now Vrabel's
They're almost like the
in
Buffalo
New England.
Sabres. Once you move on, you find success.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It's got to be
a tough spot to be in for Titans fans. Too bad, so sad. We don't care because we need the Patriots to keep winning. This team, I scoffed at people that said 10 wins, 11 wins. I was like, from where? You were one of them, and I scoffed at you, and my friend, here you go.
To my face. Pick up that ball.
I mean, this team looks like, and the AFC.
This is a playoff team. What are we doing?
AFC's wide open, bro.
I've been screaming it, and now everybody
That was me playing Travis raining on your parade, by the way.
Playoff team.
I know.
Yeah. I just wanted to give the visual.
Relax, enjoy the show.
I know.
Back to the postseason for the first time since, Mac Jones was here.
Well, we don't need to talk about him. But I am so glad to be wrong for once. 617-790-0928. Call us. We're talking Pats. And when we come back, we're talking Bruins. I'm giving her the ball because that's what she did. Here on Boston has entered the chat. Roll with us.
Marco, what stood out for you?
60 minutes team effort, I would say. I just told the guys from the first minute to the last minute, from the goalie, D, to the forward, special teams, I think we all chipped in today, and that was just a nice team win, where we had a lot of jump, especially in the first period.
How about this? A little afternoon hockey, baby. This tweet from the Bruins. A Monday matinee at TD Garden, 1 o'clock. Lightning, Nesson, be here, baby. You gotta love it. Okay, so I ask, Bruins now 3-0, or is it more like 3-0? Oh, okay, Bruins, I see you. How about this start for this hockey team?
I love it, especially because I actually tweeted after the game. I was like, is it too soon to remind everyone that the guys were a little pissed off that they were being so underestimated? Got some honest reactions, by the way. Some people said, calm it all down. Other people were like, well, they're sticking to what they said that they were going to do. They're sticking to the script, being hard to play against, making sure that if it's low scoring, they come out on top. And oh, by the way, secondary scoring is coming into play for this team. But the hats off really has to go to Marco Sturm, his system, his structure, and the buy-in overall. Hence, this team being 3-0 to start.
Yeah, I mean, the hats off doesn't go to Marco Sturm. The hats off goes to us for calling how this team had to play to be successful
formula.
this year. Right. We got into this going into the season, not that we were sitting here drawn up 3-0, obviously. So, take that, Vegas, still plus 300 to make the playoffs, the Boston Bruins. But I know it's an uphill climb. We get it. Obviously, today is not going to be easy. But in terms of Jeremy Swayman having that predictable bounce back, obviously last year did not go well for him. Part of it was missing training camp, the contract dispute, all of it. He went into this year focused, had the time, got the reps, all of it. And so far, 2 games for him, but elite. He's allowed 2 goals. Your defense has locked down, even absent now the most recent one. Hampus Lindholm is one of your top defenders. The penalty kill has been literally perfect. 12 for 12 so far. They've had different contributors there. Power play more than serviceable at about 18%. And you mentioned it, depth of scoring. 9 different goal scorers in 3 games for the Boston Bruins. 15 different guys have points. That's the formula. That's how you win. It can't be Pastrnak, Lindholm, Geeky every single night. It was game 1. That's fine. But from there, we've seen different guys contribute.
I have a question. Is this a hater question or is this just an astute observation? Because I'm looking at the schedule. Okay, the Caps are off to kind of a slow start, but that was a quality win. You're in D.C. I get it, right? You've had a couple of home wins against teams like, I look at this Lightning team. You got to win the games on your schedule. Yeah. However, could I look at today's game as this Lightning team is a step up, although they're off to a slow start too. But it's a step up in competition for this team and a real test for the Bruins. Is that like am I a hater or am I observing that right?
No, I don't think you're a hater. I think you're observing because let's just copy and paste what was being said heading into the matchup versus the Capitals. Capitals being a stout team, everything was in favor of what
playoff
the Capitals present themselves. So coming into this, those gutty wins that they had, that's some of the DNA they're going to need versus this Lightning team. Because, they're not off to a hot start, but I've said it always. A desperate team is a dangerous team, and they're going to be looking to pick things up on the road, more importantly. Now, being somebody that's covered the Lightning for quite some time, I can tell you one thing. Away games, road games, not particularly their sweet spot. This has always kind of been a tough turnaround for them to find consistency and to stick to their game against an opponent time and time again. So this is a great test, another kind of test for this Bruins team to say, hey, can we take it back to the clean execution we had versus the Capitals?
Physical teams, too, historically have given the Lightning issues, right?
Yeah. That's why I had it. We did the predictions here, actually. Season preview predictions. And what did I mention? If this is a team that is hard to play against, them being the Bruins, they can take away some of these high-skilled teams. Now, we saw the Lightning go toe-to-toe with the Senators. Yeah, they capitalized on the power play to make things interesting and keep it a close game, but it was the Senators that came out on top of that because they're not able to do 60 minutes of physical play. But within that physicality comes the discipline, and this is where the Bruins are going to have to dig deeper because you don't want to give this team a chance and opportunity to constantly be on special teams. And while a number of teams use special teams to their advantage to get momentum swings and to get back into games, it also just can stop both teams from ever getting into a rhythm or finding their structure. And a lot of the Bruins' success right now is contingent upon them being able to establish and stay within their structure and force their opponent to play their game.
Well, we've joked about it. We keep saying we're going to beat this drum as long as it's true. The whole be hard to play against them. And through
Tough
3
out.
games, obviously they have been. And I'm not speaking out of turn when I say this is a game the Lightning are supposed to win. The Bruins, I realize they're home and I realize they've been better, but they are also, again, if you want to bring Vegas into it, they're underdogs. The Lightning are, without a doubt, the more desperate team, looking to get on track, looking to prove something. You've fallen now to the Sens, to the Devils. A couple of high-scoring games, outscored 10-7. You're not getting that top-line production you would like to get so far through 2 games. Your goalie, who is one of the best in the league, and Andrei Vasilevsky, has been terrible to start off the year.
Well, not terrible. He's been left out to dry.
Fine, but fair. Yeah, I mean, the defense in front of him has been very poor, but obviously, at the end of the day, if we're looking at the stats and all that stuff, he's been
make big saves.
Yeah, he's stopping 85% of his shots. It's been, which even by modern standards, that is terrible. And so he needs a bounce back. The team needs a bounce back. 0-2 at home. You got to get on the road, right the ship, get away from just sort of the, guys talk about this all the time, whatever the sport. When you're struggling, you want to get on the road with your teammates.
Yeah.
You want to get into the hotel.
Bonding.
You want to get out of your houses, away from your families, away from any sort of distractions, and just sort of regroup. And this is that opportunity at the beginning of a road trip here for Tampa and the Bruins, who are about to go on the road for 3. It's this final game of the homestand, and you hope for them it's not a letdown spot.
Yeah, you gave me a nice transition there. Call us, 617-790-0928. Get in here. We're talking Bruins, and we're talking Patriots all show, so get in here. Just call us, would you? Look, I want to know if this is sustainable, the way this team's playing, because I get it. Like, defense, low scoring, as Adam said, a tough out, tough like a $2 steak, right? Like, I get all that. That's cute. But is that sustainable, A? B, I mean, like, to me, if this team gets down in a game, a couple goals, are they capable of coming back and winning it? Do they have enough firepower to do that? And then Adam brought this up. I'm looking at it right now, so I'm going here. After this, you go to Vegas, you go to Colorado, you go to Utah, and then it's home against the Panthers. Brad, I'll never let go. I mean, like, this is a hellacious schedule coming up after today's game, which is a tough game as well. So is this sustainable, what we're seeing from the Bruins?
Well, for one, the road trip ahead is going to teach us whether or not it actually is sustainable, because you're talking about point producers that can very much have you chasing the game. But I use the tough to play against, and Brick and I actually talked about it because I was curious. We saw it in the Stanley Cup final, Panthers versus the Oilers 2 years ago. The Oilers were a fast team. They were consistently dumping the puck. That was their way of getting ahead, and you saw the Panthers slow them down. So if you're tough to play against and you have the capability of slowing down fast teams, of disrupting skilled teams, you can do that with physicality, you can do that with good defense, and then, oh, by the way, you keep it low scoring enough, you need that second and third and fourth line to be able to punch in. Keeping it to today's game, though, this is a good test, because now they're looking to potentially go 4-0. Can this hard to play against work in their favor? And it can in a number of ways. The Lightning have kind of been a mess in their neutral zone. They've been unable to get plays going, and that's usually been a sweet spot for them. Well, we saw the Bruins manage the neutral zone very well versus a Capitals team. So you take away something they rely on to find scoring success, and now we're already looking at things favorable for the Bruins. As you mentioned, Vasilevsky, not top-notch right now. Well, a lot of breakdown plays coming on the right side of the ice. Darren Radish, I'm a big fan of yours, hasn't been playing well. And that is also where the Bruins played tremendously well on the right side of the ice because, oh, by the way, Kastelik sitting here ripping shots from the blue line. So some of the things that they've started to experiment with versus those teams, especially the Sabres, especially the Blackhawks, they can kind of try to build on versus this Lightning team and see if they can swing it in their favor. Any high danger chances and opportunity. Oh, by the way, Tanner Jeannot, Mikey Eyssimont, former Lightning guys that are very much net front nuisances.
Sure.
This is where they can show that they can score in different ways versus a Lightning team trying to get right side up.
Whew, net front nuisances. Say that 3 times.
Well, they're obviously, I mean, Kasey broke down a lot, and she's going to continue to, check it out on her Twitter today. There's going to be all sorts of notes pregame and during the intermissions and throughout in terms of, what to look for here, which, again, incredibly valuable information.
Sure.
For me, where my head goes is what do I need to see today to kind of determine how I feel about the game afterwards?
Okay.
Now, your best case scenario obviously is a win, an emphatic win. That's the dream. But let's say if we operate more in a scope of reality,
all right,
and the Bruins don't win this game.
Okay.
There's a big difference between losing, 4-0 or something like that versus losing like 2-1.
So how you lose.
Right. And I don't want to call that a moral victory or anything like that. But in terms of general attitude and takeaway and taking positivity away from a game before you go on the road.
Sure.
If you lose, and we don't want them to lose, I get it. But if you lose a hard-fought, low-scoring game where your defense, your goaltending still does its job.
Sure.
The offensive production just wasn't quite there because maybe Vasilevsky rebounds.
3-2, 4-3 type vibe.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want something that high scoring because that says to me, all right, well, so what went wrong for Swayman or what went wrong for the defense? Like, I want the win, but if they're not going to win, I'd rather see them lose
2-1,
2-1 or 3-1 with an empty netter.
I'm with you.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Look, I don't know how to feel about this damn road trip. Vegas, Colorado, Utah, we'll see, and then back home against the Panthers.
That's how to feel.
I think today, I like them today at home. I'm going to go Bruins today. I think they keep this momentum going. I think the Lightning are still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Advantage Bruins, as long as they come in buttoned up. I think that's style. Although I question if it's sustainable big picture for this team, especially as injuries mount up, which is inevitable in hockey, okay? But for today, I like the momentum staying there. I think we will see some scoring today. I'll go 4-3. I think we get some extra periods today. I'll go overtime, 4-3 Bruins win.
Ooh.
I'm with Adam. I want to keep it low scoring. Something that's going to be dangerous here very quickly is they can't turn over the puck as much as they have because the Lightning do have a bloodhound on their team by the name of Brandon Hagel who will make them pay for it if that takes
No
place.
mistakes.
I just know 4-0 sounds pretty good. I mean, listen, the way the Patriots,
Yeah?
Celtics.
Yeah?
What am I going to bet on the Bruins to lose?
No!
Sir.
Yeah!
No, sir. Not today.
Let's go!
Not today.
Let's go! Bruins win, baby, and stay unbeaten. When we come back, we'll explore what's trending in the world of sports. Stay with us right here on Boston Has Entered the Chat. Time now for what's trending in the world of sports. Here inside our Salem 5 studios. How about the Celtics? Preseason's almost over, but they did get a dub. One more game left in the preseason. They play on Wednesday against the Raptors. But a dub against the Cavs, 138-107. How about this case? A guy we talk about a lot, Anthony Simons.
Put some of his respect on his
He
name.
led the C's with 21 points in that game. One more preseason game, then the real thing starts Wednesday, October 22nd, against the 76ers.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned our guy, and I now make him our guy
He is.
because I feel a how for players that automatically get disrespected before they even have an opportunity to prove themselves. Adam, this guy gets traded here, and they're like, oh my God, 20-plus points, package him up, ship him off, let's
Trade
see what else
him
we can
now.
get. And I'm like, hello?
I know.
Just because he's an asset. It wasn't any knock on
I
him.
don't
And
know.
honestly, he's not much of an asset
I didn't
because
like
if he
the
was, he
tone.
wouldn't still
He wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Well, that's a discussion for another day. But yes, he has an opportunity, and I get it. It's just preseason. But also shout out to Hauser and Pritchard because these are the guys that, like, again, depending on where things lie for this team, you need to start seeing a little bit more step up. I actually got to talk with Ante Campbell on Hold My Banner.
Come on.
And Peyton Pritchard was one of my guys where I'm like, I want to see more. I think he has more. 5 rebounds, 14 points, that's more. And yes, it's preseason versus the Cavs, but I think the tension between the Cavs gives you just enough to kind of see these players elevate.
Adam, I have no idea what this team's going to do this year. I'm not particularly optimistic.
Jason Tatum opening night.
However, I'll say this.
Halloween.
I like that this team's not a disaster in the preseason, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect from this team this
Baby
year.
steps.
I am not buying the Tatum's back in 5 minutes thing. However, the preseason's been okay. They look like they're going to be a decent
It's been
team.
watchable.
Yes.
There you go.
It's not a disaster.
Listen, I love wins as much as the next person, even when they're meaningless in preseason. But the reason why that graphic that the Celtics, we got that again, said hashtag different year. Yeah, I know that's like a internal slogan, but it's also different here because the Celtics treated that as a dress rehearsal game where Jaylen Brown and Derek White and Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser and Anthony Simons and Josh Minot and Chris Boucher, all these guys played.
True.
You want to know who didn't play for the Cleveland Cavaliers? Let me tell you.
Everyone.
Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, DeAndre Hunter, Lonzo Ball,
Not
Max
great.
Strus, Sam Merrill. The three of us may as well have been in uniform.
Kaufman's such a balance.
For the
I know.
Cleveland
The Lightning are
Cavaliers.
winning.
Yeah.
The Cavs had nobody in their
Yeah.
game.
I mean, look,
are we allowed to be excited
My
about
point is
anything?
there's only so much you can take from a game like that when you're facing, the JV G League equivalent of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that is at best.
Yeah.
Craig Porter Jr. was, I think, the most Dean Wade. These are the Cleveland
Dean
Cavaliers that
Wade.
you actually saw on the floor. But listen, in terms of the way they played.
Yeah.
I think that's what you want to see as a recipe for success in the regular season. They're going to shoot the 3 ball. They're going to put up 45, 50 per game. They made 40% of them last night because they were able to capitalize on open looks and opportunity. No, though they weren't defended as well along the perimeter as they will be at certain points going forward when they face real competition. But Anthony Simons, your guy, maybe our guy, because on Hold My Banner with Ante, I said 6th man of the year, Anthony Simons. That's
so
what
he
you
is
need
our
to
dude.
see.
Yeah,
that's
Absolutely.
bold.
20-plus points, obviously, to lead this team. Led the scoring unit. Again, he faced a bunch of nobodies, but he led the scoring unit. He played serviceable defense, which was one of the big questions coming into the year about Simons, and even he has acknowledged this is more about effort than it is anything else. Jaylen Brown took a little bit of a backseat offensively and was more of a playmaker. I want to see that.
Yeah.
I want to see 5-6 assists
Right.
in a game for Jaylen Brown regularly. I want to see him being more deferential to guys like Derek White, Peyton Pritchard in terms of the offensive load. Now, Jalen's still going to get his, absolutely, but I want to see him rack up some of the assists. I think it just unlocks a whole new dimension to this game. Now, rebounding is going to be a huge problem for this team during the regular season because they
the front court, it's trash.
The front, it's
just say it.
It's tough.
It's trash.
It's tough. So you got one more game Wednesday against Toronto, and then boom, we're there regular season.
Yeah.
And the countdown to Tatum begins.
And Kasey thinks Tatum will be out there.
Okay, no. Let's not get crazy. That was me.
Superman came.
Thanksgiving morning.
Tatum comes flying in.
Because I already said I don't want to see him this season. I'm sorry.
Me either.
Yeah.
Me either.
Yeah.
All right, we got a pair of Monday night games in the NFL.
Yeah.
Bills at Falcons.
It's a big one.
Bears at Commanders. The Falcons are hype. Bring on Monday night. Here's their tweet. They may regret that if the Bills whoop them. I'm going to go Josh Allen being the difference like he always is, although I'm going to give Michael Penix Jr. the benefit of the doubt that he looks better than the last time we saw him when he didn't look like an NFL quarterback and he looked like he may sink the ship for the Falcons. Remember, they traded up to get this guy.
Yeah.
But look.
It wasn't supposed to be his job this early, though.
Well, you get the bye week, and I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt that he looks better and the offense looks better. I think they'll hang in this game. I'm still going to go Bills, though, to cover. I'll go Bills 31, Falcons 23.
Please.
Go ahead.
Well, I think we're going to get points. I agree
Yeah.
with that. You know, the margin of victory for Buffalo, I don't know. I do ultimately expect the Bills to win. I'm invested personally in the Bills to win. But putting that aside, I will, it's what we might call an emotional edge.
Yeah.
Because, again, if Buffalo does lose this game, again, we're talking about these guys, the New England Patriots, sitting first place based on the tiebreaker in the AFC East. I know only 6 games into the season. But, yeah, Buffalo's the better team. I expect there to be just a prideful bounce back after you lose at home in prime time to a team in your division that you consider to be lesser than. You're a Super Bowl favorite. You need to go out, bounce back on the road, win this game, win it emphatically.
Yeah.
What I will say about Atlanta, though, where that production is going to come from, and Penix will be a part of it, but really it's Bijan Robinson.
Yep.
Because with Matt Milano out for Buffalo, they're not going to be able to stop the run. So Robinson's going to go off. So Allen's going to have to spread it around, do it a different way.
Well, you keep Allen on the sideline if Robinson's running that ball, too.
You do.
That's another advantage for the Falcons.
Which is one that you would hope for. But they did good at limiting the run versus the Patriots. So I will say maybe they'll copy and paste that. And plus there's some turnovers that happen versus the Patriots that the Bills are going to very much want back.
Yeah.
Josh Allen tried to change the narrative around his name of a guy who's so dominant yet cannot protect the ball.
Sure.
He did very well changing that narrative last season. Right now he needs to make some course correction here. And then Kincaid might be banged up, you know. So depending on what the production is there, he's been the guy to throw on the cape and get the job done for these Bills. And if they can't heavily rely on him, then this is where we're going to have to see that leadership caliber and that step up and that next level Josh Allen. I think there's just so much the Bills want back in this that, of course, they do gain the win. But I will say I'm also not a fan of like early bye weeks and thinking that's going to create this fresh perspective, fresh legs, and help. I think that the bye week is more effective later on down the stretch because what much have the Falcons genuinely been through to where like this is the reset that they needed? I'm just not leaning into that too much. So this is just more of a course correction game for the Bills, in my opinion.
So we all like the Bills tonight. What could go wrong?
Right.
Everything. It's Monday Night Football.
I know. Tomorrow we'll be like, well.
I mean, that's how.
Underestimated it too much.
We don't have time to talk about it, but everybody and their mother was on the Toronto Blue Jays in Game 1 against the Seattle Mariners, and look what happened. Got 2 hit and lost. So, it's a little scary when everybody's on one side. I agree.
I don't want to brag here, but I have Mariners 7-1 to win the AL after the trade deadline.
You're almost there.
So I'm almost there. Bears at Commanders is the other game here. Look, I mean, there it is. Monday Night Football loading for Commanders fans. They are hype. That place, when this team's winning, when they got that owner out of there and they turned things around, Jaden Daniels showed up, that place is rocking. That's a tough place to get a win on a Monday night. I think this will be the game of the night, though. I like what the Bears are doing offensively. I'm going to go Commanders at home because of how tough that building is. I'm also going to add this. If you look at how the Eagles are playing right now, all of a sudden, that NFC East looks wide open.
Yep.
And if you're the Commanders, you have a young quarterback playing hurt, but the more he continues to stay in there, knock on wood, he plays himself healthy. I like the Commanders tonight. Nail biter. I'll go 30-27, another high-scoring game here. But I like the Commanders to not only win this game, but to push the Eagles for that division title. I think that division is wide open, and the Commanders are right there.
I don't hate it. I feel like they got better as the season went along last year. Funny enough, we talked about the Commanders so much last season because we were like, too much hype. And week after week, it's like, God, these guys are still in the mix. 7-3 against the spread for one, but for two, it's the fact that even in the ugliest games, Daniels doesn't completely come undone. And I feel like when you have that kind of quarterback leadership, you're going to try everything possible. If they can get pressure on Williams consistently, that is where that they can completely take this game on the reins and make it sure that it's theirs entirely.
So, look, as I always like to say to you, trends are our friends until they're not, right? Well, this is not a favorable trend for the Commanders. 1-18 against the spread in Monday Night Football home games dating back to 1998. However, we can acknowledge new era, loads more talent. They've got the quarterback, haven't had that in a little while. Jaden Daniels, after missing a couple of games with the injury where Marcus Mariota filled in, he looked really solid right away last week. Absent Terry McLaurin, who remains out. Obviously, there's the Deebo Samuel injury as well. So they're not playing at full strength. The Bears, they can't stop the run. So, Mr. Three-Name, Bill Krosky-Merritt, is in for a big game tonight.
He plays, he's a good player.
He is. He's a good young player. I think, honestly, he goes off in this one. I like the Commanders to win as well. That's not this revolutionary take, again, like the Bills' 4.5-point favorites. But you need to get it done at home against a Bears team that is not particularly good defensively. The offense, they're coming off a bye as well. Look pretty good, starting to come together under Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams those last couple of games against the Cowboys and the Raiders. But, boy, this is a much tougher Commanders defense than what they were just seeing.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that'll be the game of the night for sure. Nothing against the Falcons, but I think the Bills will handle their business. I think this Commanders game, remember, you have the Caleb Williams and the Jaden Daniels draft thing too, number one, number two. So those two are always going to have that rivalry. I think we'll see a quarterback duel tonight. Hey, by the way, John Lyons joins us next here on Boston Has Entered the Chat of WEEI and the New England Football Journal. We're talking more Patriots, so get in here, 617-790-0928. Call us, party with us. Patriots are good. Bruins are good. We got all the business here in town. Get in here. Boston Has Entered the Chat.
Celtics.
Well,
What impresses you the most about what Drake is playing right now?
Man, I don't even think it's not a surprise, man. I know what he can do. He's been balling and he's been doing his thing, and that confidence is growing. Confidence growing, and I'm proud of him.
How much confidence do you guys have, having a quarterback like that who can make some plays that aren't the way they were drawn?
Right. A lot. The confidence, how the confidence can go, that's what my confidence at, man. And the team's behind him, and you can see it how we play for him, man. Get open for him and make life easier for him.
we have confidence in him too, Pop. And we have confidence in our guy, John Lyons, WEEI, and the New England Football Journal, joining us here after the Patriots. Hey, 3 in a row, my friend. Drake Maye balling damn near 300 yards, looking great again. This team's for real, John.
Yeah, they're on a roll for sure. And I think yesterday's win, Travis, arguably, in my opinion, as important as the Sunday night win in Buffalo. Because, and I know that might sound silly on the surface, but you go into Buffalo, great division win against a Super Bowl contender, but how many times have we seen teams do that and follow it up by laying an egg? Even look at the Patriots themselves the last few years. Remember that Monday night win in Buffalo in 2021? They lose right after, right? Last year, they beat Cincinnati in week 1, lose a bunch of games after that. So to follow up a great win like that with not a perfect win, but beating a team you should beat on the road, that's what good teams do. And if they're trying to build a good team here, and Mike Vrabel's the guy we think he is, Drake Maye's the guy we think he is, these are the games they should win. So I thought it was really encouraging overall.
I actually mentioned earlier in the show that if you look at the way the Bills are playing right now, we obviously know the Patriots handled their business again. And we'll see how they look tonight, too. I want to be fair, but gosh, the division kind of feels wide open, does it not, with the way these Patriots are playing?
Well, it's easy in that the Jets and Dolphins are terrible, right? So you're already going to be the second best team. And the fact that they were able to beat the Bills, that's a good confidence builder. Then to follow it up with another win. And if you can get to a point where you're winning most, if not all, of these games that you should win. So I'm thinking Tennessee next week, Cleveland, even Atlanta. Who knows what Atlanta team they're going to get? Is it going to be the team that beat the Vikings on Sunday Night Football or the team that laid an egg to Carolina, right? You don't know. If you can win most of those games, we're going to be talking about 9 or 10 wins at the end of the season in a playoff spot. Again, because Baltimore's not who we thought they were. Giants aren't good. You have the Dolphins and Jets at the end of the year.
6 out of their next 7 opponents are sitting 500 or below. And it's 6 of 7 have losing records if Atlanta does what we think it's going to do tonight and lose to Buffalo.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, this is, I've said it, I don't know how many times, Kasey, since that Buffalo win, like, hey, guys, 3-2 was the mark through 5 games, that whether it was beating the Raiders, losing to the Bills, however you want to break it up, 3-2 was the mark through 5. Because now you've just got to breeze through the bye.
That's right.
Where, like, this team could be sitting 10-3. And that's not crazy.
Oh, my God.
It's not crazy.
And to think, even if they win 4 of those games, they have 8 wins. Well, we're talking about 8 wins at that point.
Yeah.
Even if they don't do
You
as
have
well
4 wins right now, which is as many as you had each of the last 2 seasons.
Yes. It's working.
Dating back to an era that made this New England area very successful. Of course, you kind of basically painted the picture of like they didn't lay an egg, right? And this team has been giving enough of a contingency to where if they did flop out, the expectation wasn't that high to begin with. Let's talk about something you mentioned here on Boston's End of the Chat weeks ago, and it's the progression of Drake Maye. And something that I saw him do a lot was find more confidence and decisiveness and when to step up in the pocket. You brought that to our attention, number one. Number two, his sixth sense that's starting to come to life, guys. I mean, his ability to know when pressure is coming in on him and not have any sort of chaos or panic and be able to pitch it out or still make plays happen in such a composed manner. What have you continued to see in this growth with Drake Maye to show that he's the perfect guy to lead this team?
Yeah, I thought he was awesome yesterday. And I'm glad you brought that up because we talked in August about what can Drake Maye do to progress. And the biggest thing we talked about was turnovers. Right? It wasn't yards. It wasn't touchdowns. It wasn't running around. And those things are great. But I don't think it's a coincidence that in the 4 games they've won, he's thrown 0 interceptions.
That's right.
In the 2 games
and they're
they've
more
lost,
pass heavy than run heavy.
Exactly. And then in the 2 games they've lost, he's thrown interceptions, right? So I don't think that's a coincidence at all. The limiting of turnovers has been huge. And you look some of the throws he made yesterday. That first one to Pop Douglas for the touchdown, the game-sealing throw to Kayshon Boutte. But how about the offensive pass interference throw to Stephon Diggs late in the game? That was an amazing throw, just got called back. And right after it, he follows it up with another terrific throw to Mac Hollins that could have been called defensive pass interference. But these throws he's making, and he's taking the easy things as well. Like, it's fun for us to talk about the Pop Douglas 51-yard touchdown or that throw to Diggs. And those are awesome, and those are things that a lot of guys can't do. But you see him taking checkdowns, taking easy throws. I think of that flip to Travion Henderson yesterday as well. Like, those are plays that don't get talked about enough, but I think are just as important in his development.
Adam, do you see how much of a professional John is that he didn't take a shot at the ref there? He just casually said, well, that one was pass interference. Well, this one got called. No! How about the refs are on the take? They're point shaving, clearly. Go ahead, Adam. Go ahead.
So let's talk a little bit more about Drake Maye because I've heard a lot of the time.
You don't want to talk about the refs? That's okay.
I don't want to talk about the refs.
We'll talk about the refs over here. Y'all can keep it professional.
I got that.
Over there.
I got that.
They just threw another flag, by the way.
Yeah. Did you see it just slide out of my pocket?
Stephon Diggs is not happy right now. Let's keep it right. Leave the ref conversation over there. Keep it over here. 2 of us. Let's keep talking about Drake Maye just a little bit. See, it's just 2 of us talking. Yeah. Let's talk about Drake Maye because there are a lot of talking heads after that game that want to put him in the MVP conversation. And I get it from the standpoint of, Josh Allen is maybe a little bit taking a step back. Patrick Mahomes obviously is always going to be in the conversation. Lamar Jackson with the injury, all of that. But you have guys that are kind of emerging, right? At the beginning of the year, it was like, oh, Justin Herbert. Oh, I mean, right now, Baker Mayfield. Realistically, and I know he's not going to win MVP this year. Like, I can only be a Patriots hunk to a certain point. But what's the path to him getting actual consideration by the end of the year to where people are universally saying, all right, I mean, you got yourself a top 5 to 10 quarterback in the league right now.
Where he ends up on his sweatshirt.
Yeah, where I'm wearing Drake Maye's face on my shirt, basically.
So I think it kind of continues the track he's on. Like I mentioned, not turning the ball over, winning these games you're supposed to win. If they get to the end of the year, and let's say they're at 9 or 10 wins, they're in the playoffs, he's in the neighborhood of 3,500 to 4,000 yards, limiting the interceptions. He won't win the MVP, I agree with you, but could he get top 5 votes, top 6 or 7 votes? Yeah, and the Joe Burrow injury helps him. The Lamar Jackson injury helps him for sure. The fact that nobody besides a quarterback wins it helps him as well.
Right.
So I could see the path to him getting top 5, top 6, maybe top 7 votes if he really just continues on the path he's on. And you mentioned the schedule earlier. You're going to play a lot of bad defenses coming up. Can he rack up some yards and stats against them? Can they rack up the wins? And I think when you look at his long-term path, wouldn't shock me if we're sitting here maybe in 2027 talking about him being an MVP caliber player. Maybe earlier than that. I think that's the track he could be on. And so much of it, too, guys, is the supporting cast. He has an offensive line that blocks now. Didn't have that last year.
Imagine that.
Has receivers that can get open. Didn't have that last year. Has an offensive coordinator that's one of the best in the league. Didn't have that last year. Talk about awards, by the way. Mike Vrabel's on track, Coach of the Year vote.
Let's
not forget about that. I think that's definitely in play. But to your point on Maye, I think he just continues doing a lot of things he's doing. You could see him getting on that track.
Well, let's remember, too, just for reference, we know Josh Allen won the MVP last year, but Jaden Daniels got votes. It's not like, they weren't hating on him just because he was young. If Drake Maye keeps doing what he's doing, certainly he should be in the conversation.
Take a team to 11 wins like Daniels did.
Yeah, I don't think that's a homer thing. I think that's a realistic thing if they get to that level. You get to 11 wins. In the way the AFC looks right now, you could be vying for a top seed, okay? Number 1 overall, home field advantage style. If you get to that level, he should get MVP
and I
consideration.
think what helps him is the primetime games, right?
Yes.
He outdueled Josh Allen on Sunday Night Football.
That's right.
His house.
Exactly. And they have a Thursday night game coming up against the Jets. So puts up big numbers that night. A Monday night game against the Giants. Those are opportunities for him in prime time because a lot of these voters, we know, they don't watch every single game.
Sure.
They see him on prime time, have big nights. That's going to help too.
I love Drake Maye and all, but he was yet again your leading rusher this week. This team has a run the ball problem, and I don't necessarily think it's personnel based. I actually think Travion should be getting more damn attempts, and I've been saying that for weeks, but they keep running Ramondre to no avail. Yesterday, just listen to these numbers. Drake Maye was your leading rusher, 9 carries, 28 yards. Okay, cool. Travion, 9 carries, that's it, 27 yards. Ramondre, 13 carries for 18 yards. What are we doing? There's a running problem here with this team.
Your non-Drake Maye carries were 2 yards per carry.
Bro,
that's a problem.
What's up with this run game?
25 yards on 22 carries.
What's up with the run game?
Right there, hit the nail on the head. And I think it's a combination. I think they've blocked okay, but not great in the run game. They've had some struggles, and their running backs are not getting any yards after contact. I mean, they get hit, they go down right away, and I think some of that is Stevenson is so focused on not fumbling the ball that when he gets hit, he's just going down.
Good.
I don't want him to fumble. Yeah,
fine.
So I'll take that baseline, but he's the type of guy in the past, we've seen him break off 20-yard runs, 40-yard runs, and he just hasn't done it this year. We even saw the catch and run against Miami for 55 yards. The athleticism is there. I think he's just so focused on not fumbling that he's going down. And I also think some of it is a play calling thing. And I'm a big Josh McDaniels supporter. I think he gets a lot of unfair hate in this market. But there were too many first down runs yesterday, especially late in the game. And from Josh's perspective, you're trying to run the clock out. You want to be able to run the ball, and they couldn't. So I think it's a combination of they do need to block better, especially in the middle. I mean, how many times were the Saints in the backfield through the middle yesterday? I mean, what can you do about that? Like, you need to block better up front, and the backs need to get more yards.
And your credit about Josh McDaniels, too, I agree. I actually thought he called a really good game in totality. I saw a lot of creativity, but when it came to running the ball, they were kind of vanilla.
Yeah, too much on first down. And again, I know some of that is you're trying to run the clock, but I go back to, you have 2nd and goal at the 1 in your first drive of the third quarter, and he calls a run. I don't blame him, but you miss 2 blocks that get stuffed. Then you have a delay of game. Then he calls a screen pass that gains 3 yards. That didn't really do it for me. There, a lot of people point to the 3rd and 7 draw play, too, that he had earlier in the game, but that's another one. You missed a block. I didn't love the call either, but you missed the ball. So it's a combination of things with this run game. Mike Vrabel has talked, hey, we're a play away, we're a guy away, we're this away. And I think that's what it comes, they're missing 1 block, or they're missing 1, breaking of a tackle, and that's what's preventing them from breaking off an 8, 10, 12-yard run.
I'd go as far to really put it on the offensive line as a whole, because I know that when McDaniels was coming in, everyone was like, this system is going to be made for big plays for the running back room, and that's why it was so crucial to see who was going to be your number 1, your number 2, and what the tandem was going to look like. So, for one, how much of a surprise is it that this offensive line is better when it comes to pass protection, because it takes more time to be efficient when it comes to pass protection. So we assumed, hey, if they needed less pressure on them, if they needed things to be executed at a rapid pace, it's going to come down to better blocking, opening up those run lanes, and the run game being relied on. So how much of a positive is this in a sense that this team can pass the ball, but also the fact that you can't really run the ball down anyone's throat? And we've been asking for what, 3 weeks?
Yeah, great question.
It's a great point. And I think the pass protection has been better than I thought it would be. And
insanely.
Let's be honest, last year they had the worst offensive line in the league, right?
Yes.
31st,
Not even close.
32nd, whatever you want to call it, worst offensive line in the league, and they had the worst receiver group in the league. So their ability to throw the ball this year, a lot of it is credit to Drake Maye, but they pass protected much better than I thought they would. Will Campbell leading the way on that, but I did think they would be better run blocking. I thought Mike Onwenu was really inconsistent yesterday. That's supposed to be your best offensive lineman, and he's been good overall this year.
Sure.
But yesterday inconsistent, and that's Garrett Bradbury too. That was the guy you're hoping, can you get average blocking from him? And you had a snap through Drake Maye's legs yesterday, some blocking that was all over the place. So that interior, I thought would have been a little better run blocking, especially yesterday. And something they're going to have to figure out, right? There's some of these teams going, as great as Drake Maye is, you don't want to throw the ball 40 times every game.
No.
You're going to have some games where you run the ball. I look at Tennessee coming up. You should be able to run the ball against those guys. We'll see if they can block it.
You said it last year, the terrible wide receiver room. Honestly, the talent has not turned over that much. Now, part of it is you're going against soft defenses. Part of it is your new offensive coordinator, your pass protection, obviously the improvement of Drake Maye, all these things we're talking about. But then there is the elevation factor. Stephon Diggs coming in off the torn ACL, performing way better at this stage anyway than anyone could have reasonably expected. The consecutive 100-yard games, at least prior to last year, or last night, as it sits here right now, could have had 80-plus yards in that game, if not for the big gain wiped off the board. Kayshon Boutte sort of announcing his presence in the return to Louisiana. This is a guy who had almost 600 yards last year, could be in for pacing for what? 800-ish yard season. And then obviously Pop Douglas, Mac Hollins, Hunter Henry. Have we underrated this room?
I think it's a combination of a few things. One, I think Kayshon Boutte right now looks like the player that was one of the best freshman receivers in the country at LSU in 2020. Before those injuries, before some of the maturity questions, all that. I think he's come a long way. But I think really the last 3 weeks, guys, we've seen the Stephon Diggs factor, right? He has 100 yards in back-to-back games. And then yesterday, not a big game, but it felt like the Saints are making an effort to take him away. And who does it open up for? Pop Douglas, right? Has a big game. I mean, really had a 61-yard touchdown taken off the board if you want to talk about the refs. But it's something
could have gone for 130 or whatever.
Exactly, and I think the room has been better. And I think Diggs has been a big part of it. I think Maye has been better. I think the offensive coordinator has been better. And also the protection, right? You can't throw a 51-yard pass to Demario Douglas if you're getting smoked on the offensive line.
Sure.
That's been a huge part of it as well. But I agree with you. I think the receiver room has been much better than a year ago. And I think a lot of that is credit to Diggs, but some of it is the other guys have, to their credit, been better.
Can we just end this segment giving props to Mike Vrabel? Because I don't know how he did not blow a gasket yesterday. I was going crazy with these damn refs. I hate them and they stank. That was the worst officiated game I've ever seen in my damn life. I thought Mike Vrabel should have went to jail yesterday, and he stayed calm, cool, and collected. He was challenging them, literal challenges, and getting calls reversed. Props to Mike Vrabel for yesterday.
Honestly,
I just want to end the segment there.
Patriots reporter, she's like, Vrabel's better than me.
Yes.
I would have already blew a gasket and lost my mind, and I'm like, I felt all of that.
You should have gone nuts. John, we appreciate you. Hey, get up early with us all year long. We'll break this down, especially if this team keeps winning. The party doesn't stop here on Nesson, it does. But on Nesson Nation, we're still there partying. Come on over with us. Boston has entered the chat. We'll see you there. I hate you refs, and you stink.